name's Nathan. I'm the freshman on the team this year, and my piece is a humorous solo piece. It's called It's Cold Out There, Man by Bradley Welton. The cat is called Roach. I suspect the name has something to do with what he considers everyone around him to be. There is an arrogant moral superiority in his eyes, the kind that says, I would have a seat on the Supreme Court if it was worth my time. Roach sits on the lap of a woman with a face so incredibly angular she resembles a Pablo Picasso painting. Her name is Aunt Priscilla. I think she's glaring at me, but with that face it's hard to be sure. Next to Roach and Aunt Priscilla is a very large creature. I suspect it is a dog. I think it wants to eat me. Looking from its eyes to Aunt Priscilla's and back, there is remarkably little difference in the expression. I begin to think that she wants to eat me too. Roach has no interest in eating me. He's too highly evolved to be bothered with such things as food. When the others kill me, he will simply drink my soul. There is a blast of frigid air, and I try to sink down into my chair to hide from the cold. Sadly, it's a folding chair, so my gambit is unsuccessful. The front door slams shut, and an old man stands there with a second dog-like creature on a leash. They are both covered in a dusting of snow, which they both proceed to shake off in an alarmingly similar manner. The old man is called Zeke. It's cold out there, man, he says. I am uncertain how I should respond to this. It is, in fact, extremely cold outside, that is not in doubt. But why Zeke would venture out in a tank top undershirt that doesn't quite cover his geriatric beer gut is beyond me. It's darn cold out there, man, Zeke repeats, adding the darn for emphasis. It occurs to me that Zeke may be giving me a subtle warning that I'm trapped inside and would freeze to death in the bitter cold if for any reason I should try to leave. I look at Zeke. Zeke looks at me. I look at Roach. Roach looks at me. I look at Aunt Priscilla. Aunt Priscilla looks at me. I look at the dog creatures. The dog creatures look at me. There is an incredibly uncomfortable silence in the room that I feel hinges on me. I must speak. I must speak now. I must choose my next words very, very carefully. I fear that they could be my last. Yep, I say. Oreo, Zeke says. Aunt Priscilla nods. Roach doesn't care. The dog creatures look disappointed. I get to live for another minute. Now, when I say live for another minute, I am slightly exaggerating the potential danger. There's nothing outside of my own paranoia to suggest that the incredibly scary people and animals in this room would even consider killing or let alone eating me. But my paranoia is doing just fine on its own. In the kitchen, my roommate helps his mother prepare Thanksgiving dinner. We got fish sticks, cheese dogs, burritos, pork rinds, and fried Cheerios. What? Oh, we ain't fancy like most people. We don't like them dressings or the cranberry sauces. We figure if you're gonna pig out all day, you might as well eat the food that you want to eat. Well, I can't argue with my roommate's reasoning. I think I'd feel better about it all if I didn't get the impression that the family does all of their grocery shopping at the 7-Eleven down the road. I noticed early in the school year that my roommate's eating habits veered toward the unhealthy, shall we say. I've never seen him eat a vegetable except for those deep-fried pickle chips. In fact, I think that for an entire week he lived off nothing but Twinkies and Mountain Dew. I assumed at first that he was rebelling against a culinarily restrictive upbringing. I know now that he was, in fact, honoring the spirit of his family's dinner table with the fidelity of a zealot. Because of my mistaken assumption about my roommate's eating habits, and because I'd never seen any pictures of his family, I accepted his invitation to Thanksgiving dinner. My family is half a continent away. His was just over damn mountain in the rural outskirts of a fairly major city. I will never again underestimate the words rural and outskirts. Even when located only a few miles from a major metropolitan area, People call places rural and outskirts for a reason. One of the dog creatures slaps itself upside the face with its tongue in a sloppy licking motion. It looks around, confused, as if uncertain where the assault originated. Then it settles back down and does the same thing again. Aunt Priscilla shifts in her seat. Roach has probably just figured out time travel, but isn't about to tell anyone. Zeke looks out the window.
It's cold out there, man,
he says. Roach pokes an ear in my direction. I take it as a sign that I'd better speak up quick if I know what's good for me. Yeah, I say. My roommate's mother calls my name. I'm only too happy to join them in the kitchen. Mrs. Kane is a fairly normal-looking woman in frizzy, rotund, and toothless kind of way. I feel bad for wishing she wouldn't smile at me. We're out of milk, honey. Could you and Zeke go to the store? My heart skips a beat. Alone with Zeke in the snow? 1,000 grisly scenarios flash across my brain in the second before I hear Zeke's voice holler from the living room.
It's cold out there, man.
Well, that may be, Paul, but we need milk for the cheese dogs. Wait a minute. I look around the kitchen, certain I must be missing something obvious. Milk, a required ingredient for cheese dogs? I look at my roommate in confusion. What? He asks, confused by my confusion. Whatever it is they do with milk and cheese dogs in this house is clearly such an ingrained part of his upbringing that it's never occurred to him to think otherwise. Unless you want to spend your Thanksgiving Day without milk for your cheese dogs. Motivated by this harrowing scenario, Zeke stumbles into the kitchen.
Best get your coat on, son. It's cold out there.
We trudge through the snow to Zeke's ancient pickup truck. Zeke has bundled himself in a too small denim jacket, which he wasn't able to button. I feel sorry for the poor exposed hair sticking out of his navel.
It's cold out here, man.
Zeke says as he starts the truck and we pull out of the gravel driveway. We drive about a mile down the road to the 7-Eleven.
You go on in and get the milk. I'll keep the motor running. Sure is cold out here.
Zeke makes no motion to hand me any money. Quickly, I try to recall the contents of my wallet. I'm pretty sure I have at least $10. I guess I can spring for milk if they're making dinner for me. I climb down out of the truck and enter the convenience store. Nothing immediately strikes me as scary, but the more I look around, the more things seem off. For one thing, I can't find a price on any item anywhere. For another, there's this thin coating of dust, not only on the shelves, but on some of the merchandise, particularly the soap and personal care products. When I do find the milk, it's stashed in the back in a cooler, along with several boxes of Ho-Hos and a can of beans. I try not to wonder about this as I take the milk up to the cash register. The going price of a gallon, maybe $3.50. At a convenience store, I'll probably pay more, $4.50. The cashier, a 40-something woman with one leg and a long twisty hair growing out of a mole in her cheek, does not bother to scan the barcode. She looks at me blankly and says,
$8.64.
As in $8.64. I want to ask her if she's kidding, but by the look on her face, I feel certain that she'd pull a shotgun out from behind the counter and blow me to smithereens. I consider walking out and leaving the milk, but Zeke's potential reaction concerns me. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. So I reach for my wallet, take out my money, just as Zeke pokes his head through the door.
Oh, Sally, that one, he's with me.
Oh, you should have said something, honey, Sally says to me with a rotted smile. $4.25. I pay for the milk and leave. Very, very glad to be out of there. Of course, now I'm back in Zeke's pickup and we're headed for home. The trip back is uneventful and dinner is ready when we arrive. The dog creatures hover eagerly around the table, waiting for scraps. Rouge sits atop the back cushion of the sofa, probably contemplating quantum physics. I discover that the milk is for dunking the cheese dogs. I try not to stare, but it's hard. Mrs. Kane passes me the fish sticks. How was your trip to the store, honey? I will never forget that convenience store for as long as I live. I will tell many stories about it for many years to come. The first of those, however, will not be told here today. Well, it was cold out there. Darn cold.
That was a mighty good start to our show tonight. His piece is tough. I don't see seniors taking on pieces like that you have to, the dry humor, and you just have to bring it to life. Nathan does such a good job with that piece. Every time I watch it, I think, I'd put you first every time. And as you can see in his scores, that there were places he did really, really well, and other places he didn't. I won't mention that maybe some of those places were hillbillies and they were offended. No. But he did have, some of his judges were just, there's nothing but praise for how well he did with it, and I agree. So, next up we'll have Ethan, sorry. No! Sean, he's sitting and looking at me going, what? Sean will be up next in 1 second.
I'm Sean Jessen, and I'll be performing The White Elephant by Jerry Rabushka. The truth of the matter is, I forgot it. Well, it was silly, ill-timed, badly written. And besides that, the leading lady just ran off stage with an unsightly and revealing rip in her costume. A rip which I discreetly chopped there with a pair of scissors only moments before. She deserved the part. She only got it because she secretly served a poisonous arrowroot dip in her cooking glass. A dip which off the queen, the princess, and at least 3 ladies in waiting. Oh, it was a royalty play. You know, kings, queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, all the way down to the 2s. And we all had to do Irish accents. Not that we all could, but the director demanded authenticity. The Prince of Ireland couldn't speak his own language. My monologue came after the queen's dramatic exit. All the more dramatic with that rip in her costume. But she inadvertently insulted me during intermissions. My acting, my reacting, my characterization, my cue pickup, even my own mother. That was the longest intermission I've ever endured. I like to ruminate on the ill temper of the queen, a woman who had fortitude to rule a nation, but couldn't stomach the fact that someone had taken a cantaloupe-sized slice out of her dress in secret revenge. So there I am, in front of everyone. My chance, my duty, to make a bad playwright look grand, instead of a really moldy poetic tone. And my memory just went south. Well, I remember it now. Now. I'll never forget it. Like an elephant. A big, white elephant. I have no use for it, but I find myself reading incessantly. I stayed in the shower, on the bus ride to school, at the grocery store. The Passover hurt me and accidentally used in one of the sermons. Oh dear, it seems like she had forgotten. Something having to do with the queen. If she finds out I'm going to snip her dress, she'll slowly have me beheaded. Actually, she was always beheading someone. Whenever she forgot her line, she simply beheaded the person standing next to her. It was a large cast in Act 1, but by Act 2, it dwindled shockingly. Maybe you never got up on stage and forgot your lines, but every second, like an hour. Maybe it was 5, maybe it was 10. I don't know, but I think I could learn calculus. It just wasn't there. But after all, I had practically done my job for the evening. I dethroned the queen. Oh, she's been in a foul temper, don't you think? But she saved me. Because she came, stomping in and shouted, "Off with your head!" And I was dragged off stage by one of the only ladies in waiting. We had several lines later in the show, including the ones which saved the queen's life, to say. My head was restored within 10 minutes, and I went on stage as if nothing ever happened. "Think twice, Your Majesty," I shouted. "You're going to need this head by scene 16. The queen was outraged, head or no. "I don't know who did it." "Who did what?" I asked, as innocent as my beheaded character. "I'll throw out my dress when I go to the ball." "The ball, Your Majesty?" "I I very well can't go to the rave, said Her Royal Highness. It's a blasted 16th century. In that dress? I was playing medieval fashion police. You shouldn't even left the palace. My monologue was simply so to give the cast time to change clothes for the rave. But I thought, what if this queen was this white elephant? Useless. But everyone had to take care of her because she was so unusual. Oh, worse than the queen, the director. Well, in high school, we do the play twice. Friday and Saturday. Opening night and closing night. Why call it opening night if the next night is closing night? I just spent 2 months of my life staying up to school with you people teaching you drama. What a waste of time. Why do you think they wrote the script if they don't expect you to stick with it? Since I wasn't very good at the time, I subbed him, in character. Even though the show was already over. Okay, the show wasn't really over. We just had to stop it early after the entire cast was headless. And the director had narrated the entire ending. If the script was worth repeating, we might have all to learn it, but she made a dreadful error in both selecting your queen and your play. She didn't inherit the throne, she usurped it. After all that, plus her tirade during intermission, oh, I can still hear it now. Do you know who I am? I'm the queen. I'm the queen on stage. In order to maintain character, I'm the queen off stage. Someone else replies, I'm the enemy of the queen, both on stage and off. To which the queen said, I'll have beheaded and exiled in that order. She had a point. Once you're beheaded, exile simply wastes money. So all drew straws. All the peasants, a couple pages, and at least some ladies in waiting, who were very discontented and didn't want to be in waiting any longer. The lucky ladies were survived the archery tip that was. I won short straw, so revenge was mine. I took the scissors and threaded the back part of the royal gown. She went on stage and looked a lot more like Betty Boop than Queen Elizabeth I. I was so nervous. I hated my monologue. Oh, how did it go? If only it was relevant. But who's ever heard of a white relevant elephant? Oh, worse yet, it's in verse. All the monologues were in verse, and there were lots of them, which made for perfectly good drama. There seems to be a problem with the queen. She's out of sorts, more than she's ever been. Her mental state seems quite a mess. It must be because somebody snipped her dress. But since I can't remember, I'm going to improvise. The woman wields her power like a hot tortilla sauce. Her ruling style is quite disgusting, and the public at the loss. She will solve the issue of a once great sovereign nation through exile, oppression, and too much decapitation. Oh, but there's more. A scene with a page. Hast thou, may I ask thee, see the queen? Yes, page, I say. She went off left. She had urgent and unplanned business to attend to. Her majesty gowns and shreds? I couldn't tell this page when I started if he turned. She's going to the ball? Or the sortie? Or was it the rave? In that inferior garb she wore last week to the joust? She had the tear locked up for seeing such inferior goods. I do know now that they have belligerent queens, unruly pages, and downtrodden peasants. It wasn't much unlike my junior class. Although we had supposedly instructors who were supposed to keep such autocrat types under control. Has anyone ever heard of discipline? Okay, I'm here to make amends. By the way, since my mom and dad found out I did cutting with the scissors, I can't move on with my life until I'm out of the house. After all, I have a white elephant to feed.
Not rushing anything, but can you imagine Sean telling stories to his little kids? He's got the expression, he has vocal expression too. I think he's gonna have some lucky little kids someday in the distant future. Next up is Ethan. Ethan does a humorous solo, and here we go.
I'm Ethan Lobdell. I am in humorous solo, and the piece I'll be performing tonight is Accumulating Cats by Kelly Meadows. She wouldn't give me her number, so I kept showing up at her place of business. For 5 months, I drank coffee while she topped off the late shift at East Java. I didn't sleep from May to September. Then, when she got a job at a health food store, I wound up eating soy protein. But inadvertently winning a weightlifting competition in Bulgaria. Don't ask. Then when she got a job at an animal shelter, I wound up with 32 cats and an eviction notice. Finally, I spoke up after signing yet another adoption form. You'd think they'd consider me unfit since I already had 45. Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, you seem to really like cats.
No. Anything else? I didn't realize she was stupid on top of it.
Yeah, you seem to really like coffee and soy protein.
What about you?
I don't like soy protein.
Not that it mattered. With 54 cats in the place, I could hardly have anyone over. Heck, there was more animosity in my apartment than a high school cheerleading squad. But I didn't have much choice. If I gave up the cat, she'd say I was uncaring. If I gave up the girl, well, I'd save a heck of a lot of money on cat litter. Finally, I packed all 84 cats into my car and went back to the shelter. But instead of Brenda, I saw a policeman. A fairly burly and delightfully authoritative fellow who, among other things, moseyed his way over to my car and wondered how I could see out the back with 96 cats. What's the matter, boy? Cat got your tongue? I ripped the feline from my face and said I was waiting for Brenda Riley. He seemed shocked, honestly. We were both doing our own thing in our own crazy little way. Brenda Riley. I gave that gal 15 tickets just to get to know her. Then she said she wouldn't go out with the police officer. After that, I had to give her 30 days. She lost her job at the health food store doing the time, but at least I could keep my eye on her. So apparently it was this whack job's fault that I had all cats and no Brendan. But he went on. You know, I know of a fireman who lit her house on fire in hopes that she'd come running into his arms like he was in some kind of disgusting romance novel. Instead, she escaped out the back window. I guess you could say his romance went up in flames. What an unfortunate girl, I offered, hoping to get onto his good side. Not really. That's why she didn't mind spending the 30 days, you know. They were too busy rebuilding their apartment. She couldn't afford a hotel. It was nice, apparently. Had a coffee maker in her cell. They didn't serve her soy protein. Brenda was put on television. Apparently, she was famed for having farmed out nearly every cat that came into the shelter.
So if you want your precious feline to have a good home, just take him down to Brenda Riley.
That wasn't good for either of us. Either I had to stop my cat colony at about 150, or bump up to an SUV. I didn't show up for about a week. It was hard, but it's not like I didn't have any pets to take care of. Brenda was beside herself. Now, a couple weeks later, I saw a picture of her with that policeman on the news. Now, mind you, this picture would not have been so infuriating, except for he was in a tux and she was in a bridal gown. But I digress. You know, once you have 150 cats, Soon you have 163, 175, 217. I had no choice. I had to put the cats on a hot tin roof. I loaded all the felines into my car and went back to the shelter. As I opened up my back doors, a ton of felines poured out of my car, and Brenda was there, as frightened as a victim in a horror movie. And screaming just as loud,
Like, stop that, you're stressing out the cats.
oh yeah, and I was just as laid back as a surfer on Santa Monica Beach. My tires heaved a sigh of relief as a ton of cat flesh poured out of my car. And soon, Brenda was back on TV begging for people to adopt.
Like, please take a cat, take a kitten. We can't afford to feed them and we can't afford to keep them. And do you know what happens when we can't afford it? We have to, like, euthanize them. All of them. And do you know who you can blame for this plague unleashed on our unsuspecting city? You can place that blame squarely on the head, shoulders, and gizzards of Kenneth Loberg.
That's me. Call me Kenny. Call me in the doghouse. Call me my picture was put on front page. And my mother was not proud. But people came in droves. After all, no one wanted to see Brenda go down in flames. Or felines. Well, maybe that fireman. Soon, everyone had a cat. Heck, the lines were so long, I could barely get in to see her. As if it mattered, Brenda was married. I wasted a year of my time in pursuit of coffee, fancy feast, and soy protein. But then I realized I had to talk to her. She had to know that despite all this, I did it for one reason. I did it for her. Sadly, this was nigh impossible. She was either tossing out cats, copying an attitude, or clinging to her husband, like a scared little slug clinging to the side of a porch. A slug that by now I wanted to step on with a giant construction boot! I had to form a plan. I went about 3 towns over to a near desolate place where no one had heard of me or my inquiries. About 40 pounds of catnip. It was on sale. That was a ride home. As I spread it discreetly around the shelter, I placed a series of 911 calls suggesting there may have been a brutal robbery on 34th Street. Calling all cops! Calling all cops! Brutal robbery on 34th Street! I must have been convincing. We don't have a 34th Street. So the cats were in hog heaven, the police were in hot pursuit, and Brenda, she was in the ladies' room. I didn't care, it was time to confess. I went in and waited for that telltale flush. Brenda, I have to talk to you!
But, like, this is the ladies' room. And what have you done with all the cats?
Well, there was one cat I was finally letting out of the bag. Brenda, I love you! Silence. Long silence. Then it happened. Flush! There's a man in here! Get out! No, you get out. I have waited a year to talk to this woman. Leave!
Love?
Who knows? It had to be said, but once said, it didn't seem to have much impact.
Okay, maybe if I would have known that, I might have gone out with you.
And I'm like, what? You married the policeman!
Yeah, because of you. You were everywhere. I thought you were stalking me. Coffee? Maybe, but no one likes that many cats, and particularly no one likes that much soy protein. So I married it for protection.
I just about went catatonic.
I didn't realize you loved me, and out she went.
I was dumbfounded, awestruck. A man alone in the ladies' room. Then it happened. Flush.
Mike, what are you doing here?
Scanning the room for exits, I just instinctively said, chasing felines? My court date's next month.
Don't you wish he'd talk a little louder so you could hear him? Good job, Ethan. He's mastered the art of dramatic pauses. He said he does very well with that, yes. Next up, we have the pets, Shelby and Brooke, and they went to state and placed 8th, as you can see in your program. Is it right? A coin flip was the deciding between 8th? Yeah. Oh, they were 9th, sorry, 9th. It was a decision between 8th and 9th. Yeah, I thought it was a coin flip. I guess I never really asked on this one. There we go. They're up right next.
And I am Shelby Brightpath, and we will be performing a humorous duo by Claudia Haas, Dog Day Morning. There they go, the two-leggeds, my favorite things.
The two-leggeds have finally gone, my sworn enemies.
Look at them, happily driving away from me in their car. Why didn't they take me with them? I was having the best morning. It started out with a dog biscuit. I love dog biscuits. And then they gave me a belly rub. I adore belly rubs. And then they walked me around the block. I love this block. And now they're gone. Who knows if they'll ever return?
This is day 365 of my imprisonment. The two-legged creatures are driving me mad. They continue to